And once again, what I want to do is just welcome everyone to the Professional Networkers Weekly Webinar. This is a training series that we're doing right now. It's a 12-part series, and this is number 7 of that 12-part series. We've covered things like the product, how to explain the product, how to market the product, our compensation plan, how to market the compensation plan. We've talked about different things. Now we're going to get into something a little bit different here. Today, what we're going to focus on is effective goal setting and maximizing your income through that. So this title of this one is Effective Goal Setting Can Maximize Your Income. Now, what we're going to do is go through a lot of information. Some of this is going to be more, you might say, psychological in nature. Some of it's going to be principle-based, and some of it's going to be, based on things that we suggest that you do for you and your group to help maximize your income, maximize your group income as well. So what we want to do is just get into this and explain a little bit about what effective goal setting is, why it's important, and then give you a few points on ways to set goals and to train people within your group, other leaders within your group, to set goals. So let's go ahead and get started here. First off, obviously, what is setting effective goals and why is it important? Well, let's discuss effective goal setting and how it can maximize your income. Now, Mike Akins, who's been involved in the industry for 50 years, he's the president and founder of Professional Networkers. Mike's been successfully involved in this industry for over 50 years. Most of these years, he observed that 99% of networkers do not meet their goals 99% of the time. So a few eventually do, but most don't. And that's a lot of discouragement. Imagine 99% of the time when you set a goal that you fall short of that. And let's imagine that 99% of the people, that's what happens. That can be extremely discouraging, not only for that person, but for other people looking into this industry to see those kinds of failures, to see those kinds of struggles within the industry can be very discouraging for them to even take the leap into this industry. And the few that eventually do actually make it, it's a very small number. Most people don't. And this is one reason for such high attrition in this industry. In this industry, there's a lot of fallout, a lot of people starting, getting going, and then dropping out. This is one of the reasons, is that there is people are not meeting their goals, and it gets discouraging, and they end up, dropping out or moving to something else. Well, most uplines try over and over again to motivate their distributors to set and to meet goals. But a great deal of the time, it's for the upline's benefit because the upline's trying to set goals as well. Of course, goal setting is important because most networkers would never get anywhere without goal setting, without having some sort of goals to set. So it's important that there be a goal. I mean, you don't want to just fly through here completely aimlessly. You need to have some goal, something to reach for, something to strive towards. So what's the answer? Well, let's look at how to set effective goals, okay? In order to set effective goals, jumped ahead of myself. If you're the upline, be careful just how hard you push your own people to set high goals to meet your own goals, okay? What you need to understand is it is best to focus on your downline leaders and do what's best for them, what's best for the entire team. Now, it may take you longer, but you will most likely have better retention rate by doing this. When you can focus on your downline leaders, train them, teach them, encourage them, create a relationship with them, it will create better retention for your group. Refer to your rank achievements, okay? Refer to them as team achievements and not as individual achievements. Okay, you can refer, for example, the team reaches diamond position, or the team reaches presidential diamond, or the team reaches international diamond. Congratulating teams and not just one person for rank achievements, because by doing this, you're creating a mentality. You're creating a group mentality to where everyone feels as though their individual importance is taken into account when achievements are made. Everyone feels like everything they do is helping with a bigger picture. When it's focused on one person and that one person fails in something or is unable to achieve a goal that they're setting, it all falls on them, and it can be very discouraging. It can take the wind out of their sails. It can make them not want to try and strive for that next step. But when you congratulate them as a team, as a whole, as an effort where everyone's coming together, then even when they're doing their best and they're not reaching their goals, but the team achieves a goal, they feel a sense of achievement in that as well, and it creates this support that they need. Excuse me. All right. So next, Mike suggests you be strong on effort-oriented goals and be soft on result-oriented goals. Okay? In Mike's 50-plus years in this industry, one thing he has seen repeatedly is the need to set goals based on effort. Okay? Because you can focus on the result, but focusing on results that people can control is what's much more important. Okay? You don't want to focus on goals that people cannot achieve or goals that they have no control over. So in looking at this, what we want to do is to continue to understand exactly what these are. So next, what are these different goals? What is an effort-oriented goal? What are some ideas on an effort-oriented goal that you can achieve? Well, these are things you can look at that you can achieve that are effort-oriented. These are not result-oriented. You can look at how much effort you put into something. In other words, how many hours per day will you work on preparation? That's a goal on effort. That's a goal that you can achieve. How many days per week will you devote to working your for-life business? Again, this is something you can achieve. This is something that you can control. How many people are you going to talk to this week? Again, this is something that you can control. How many new contacts are you going to befriend to set up for later prospecting? How many hours are you going to devote to studying the pay plan, the products, websites, marketing materials? This is, again, another goal that's something that you can control and you can achieve. How many conference calls and webinars will you attend this week? And how many distributors in your downline will you encourage and train in this exact same method in this week? These are things, again, that you can control and see the effort that you put into it. You cannot control the outcome, okay? And that's what we're going to get into next is result-oriented ones. But one thing about result-oriented is that you can't control and make someone sign up. You can't make someone become a customer or make someone become a distributor. That is something that they personally have to do. But what you can control is the type of information you share with them, the type of presentation that you give. These are things that you can control. They're within your grasp, and that's what you want to focus on. So next, let's take a look at setting result-oriented goals and teaching your distributors to do the same. Okay, so these are some goals that you can set that are result-oriented, that are within the grasp of people so you don't see that discouragement we talked about before. Okay, so what you want to do here is look at some of these things as different steps, if you will, that you can set. First goal, first thing you can look at is enroll your first person. Now remember, everyone comes in as a preferred customer. So the reason we say enroll your first person and we didn't target that on enrolling your first distributor is because everyone comes in as a preferred customer. No matter if they decide that they want to do the distributorship or not, they first come in as a preferred customer. And preferred customers, in a lot of ways, most people feel are much easier to get started as opposed to another distributor because you're selling the product. You're selling what Transfer Factor can do for them. Okay? So your first goal is to enroll your first person. Your next goal is to become a builder by enrolling 2 more distributors on your first level. Now, there's a builder bonus. And the builder bonus basically is set up so that you structure through volume and through enrollments a 3-by-3 type of scenario. So you get a person, you get 3 people, who get 3 people, who get 3 people. Okay, this is what the builder is. So your next goal is to become a builder, lining yourself up to be a builder by enrolling 2 more distributors on your first level. So now you have 3 people on your first level. Okay, so now you're beginning to set yourself up to become a builder. Okay, so first goal is to enroll that first person. Your next goal is to become a builder by enrolling 2 more distributors on your first level. Okay, now the next goal is to work with your first level distributors so that they also become builders. So in other words, work with your first level to each get 3 people on their first level. Okay, and what that's going to do is going to create other builders in your business, but it's going to start setting you up structurally and volume-wise to be the next step, which is going to be a diamond. Okay, so now this next one's important. Your next goal is to become a diamond. Now you can do this by getting your second level distributors to each get 3 people underneath them, or you can enroll 3 more distributors and help them enroll 3 who enroll 3. So again, you're repeating the process. Okay, so either you can get people on your second level to get their 3, or you can enroll 3 more on your front level who get 3 more on their second level and enroll them, encourage them to do the 3 by 3 by 3 as it goes down in depth as well. Okay, that's how you're going to achieve diamond. All right, now next, you will need to identify 2 individuals that have leadership characteristics, people that are passionate and work with their distributors, people who are focused, and focus them on going diamond as well. So you see there's tiers to this, okay? We're setting these result-oriented goals. Notice there's no time frame on these. I didn't say get your first person in your first week. I didn't say enroll your first person in the first month. I merely said your first goal is to enroll your first person, however long that takes, at your pace. Okay. Your next goal is to become a builder by enrolling 2 more distributors on your first level. Again, no time frame is put in here. The reason being is that what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to have the results you want as they're going to come. When you start putting a time frame on it, now you're adding pressure to that, which can cause you to do, well, there's several things. For one, if you don't meet it, it can be very frustrating, and then you're going to set another time frame when that most likely you'll have a tough time meeting. Don't worry about that. What you need to worry about is achieving these particular steps and doing them as they work for you. Because let's be honest, sometimes, you hit a dry spell, and even someone who's a crazy enroller who enrolls people left and right will hit a time where they just hit a month or 2 and they just can't seem to get anyone signed. That's just part of the game. So none of these have any time frames on them, okay? So next, what you want to do is you identify the 2 leaders that have these characteristics of passion and working with their distributors and focus on helping them to go diamond. So that's the next step, is helping them to go diamond, all right? Then what you want to do is your next goal is to become presidential diamond. Now, what you do here is you help these 2 distributors that achieve diamond, okay, which is the step before. We're talking about focusing your identified leaders into going diamond. You help these 2 people achieve the diamond level. You'll also need to have 8 total enrollments doing their 100 LP each month. Now, I put a little note in here. Generally, you need to have 10 to 12 people personally enrolled, to ensure that at least 8 of them are doing their monthly volume, because some of these people are not going to consistently order. Some of these people may order once and, then just not ever order again. Sometimes people order and, they lose touch with why they're ordering. So by getting 10 to 12 in there, what you're going to do is you're ensuring that at least 8 of those are going to do their 100 LP each month. Now, what I want to talk about now is those are the points of effective goal setting, both on the result-oriented goals as well as the effort-oriented goals. Now, what you want to do, this is kind of some side notes to keep you keep things going here. You want to encourage your distributors by pointing out truthful things that they do. Don't give false compliments, false patronization, because deep down they know that whether you're being honest or not. Okay? Sorry about that. These types of compliments do not accomplish real motivation. Okay? So again, what you want to do is when they show up for meetings or get on conference calls or webinars, say something along the lines of, I can see that you're someone that's going to the top because you show up at all of our webinars. I can count on you to purchase your 100 LP each month. This will help you develop a personal testimony which is vital to your success. These are things that you can share with them which are real-time, truthful things that you can compliment them on about their building and their business opportunity. Okay? So, congratulations on enrolling your first preferred customer. That's a great one. This is your first step in developing a lifetime income. That right there encourages that very first step that we talked about in result-oriented goals, which is to get your first customer. Okay? Congratulating them on things like that, achievements that they've made that will help them to stay motivated. It will help them to want to perform. It will help them to want to continue moving forward. And that's what this is all about. It's about using these goals and setting goals that people can achieve, goals that people can feel good about achieving, and keeping them motivated so they continue to move forward in this business. Now, some closing thoughts. I know this is kind of short and sweet, but there's not a lot that we really need to expound upon. Each of these points are pretty self-explanatory. But remember this, effective goal setting can encourage growth by keeping your team motivated as they achieve these goals. It's important that they have something to reach for, but it's also important that the goal be realistic and attainable. Great leaders encourage their teams to set these kinds of goals, and they help them achieve them, and it creates an environment of support and success. So, again, today was very short and sweet. I mean, that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today. And what I like to do is I always like to open up any questions by having people put them in the chat portion, because once we all come off of mute, it goes crazy and it's hard to understand people, and people talk over one another, and there's a huge echo. So I prefer that if anyone has any questions, then please feel free and put them in the chat section. If you're unfamiliar with that, at the top of your screen where you see the little toolbar, if you will, for start meeting, you'll see a little air bubble with a little tail on it. That's going to be the chat section. You can click on that, and then you can send me a message, personal message that gives me, you can type out any questions you have about the webinar this morning. So, but at this point, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat segment there, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. But that's going to essentially conclude the actual webinar, the presentation portion. So I'm going to go back here because there was a couple of things I wanted to just quickly reiterate. Again, be strong on effort-oriented goals. Be soft on result-oriented goals, because the results that a person can control is what you need to focus on, not what they cannot. I want to just expound on this one real quickly. I'm on the phones and I'm doing webinars, I'm doing meetings, I'm doing presentations to people literally all over the world. I've been to India, 4 different times. I've been to Africa. I've been to Trinidad and Tobago. I've been all over the United States. And I've given these meetings and spoken with people about this stuff. And let me just tell you that if I was focused on my meeting signing everyone up in that room, I would be extremely disappointed with myself. If I focused on a percentage of the room signing up by the time it was over, I would more than likely be disappointed. What I do focus on is that I give a presentation that answers the questions that people have, that addresses our company and represents our products, our company, and our support in the presentation. I can focus on that because that's something I can control. Let's be honest. If I gave a perfect presentation that left no questions, left nothing to be misunderstood, made perfect sense, and even the people I gave it to completely and 100% understood our opportunity and saw what a great opportunity it was, that still does not ensure that those people will sign up when the meeting is over. That still doesn't ensure that if I give someone a one-on-one presentation that they will sign up when we're done. So I cannot focus on the result of them signing up. What I can focus on is that I do my part and make sure and give the best presentation I can, answer the questions accordingly, and do my part in that respect. The results will come. If I'm doing my job on the effort side of things, the results will come eventually. And so that's what the point of this webinar is today, is to show you these things. Back to very first point, if you're the upline, if you have a group underneath you, it's important you train your people not to push your people too hard on setting these high goals. I've heard people everywhere that I've gone, they'll say, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to sign someone up and tell them that they've got 60 days to go international diamond, and that'll really push them. Well, yes and no. It gives them a time frame to work towards, but the fact is that's a very, very steep goal to achieve. But if you push that and really just drill that into them, you got to go international by this time, you got to go international by this time, that becomes a burden to them, and it actually becomes something that turns into a negative because it's such a huge and lofty goal. So that's what that first one means, is like, if you're the upline, be careful in the way that you push these high goals and meeting those goals on your leaders, because it can become very frustrating to them. So that being said, again, that concludes the call for today. I don't see any questions that anyone's put into the chat segment, so I'm going to assume at this point that no one has any questions on any of that.